What if the key to a fulfilling life lies not in chasing external achievements, but in mastering the way you perceive the world around you? This is the promise of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time, offering timeless truths to navigate the chaos of modern life. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest practitioners, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." These words capture the essence of Stoic wisdom, reminding us that while we can't control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. In this video, we'll explore 18 Stoic truths that have the power to transform how you see the world, truths about resilience, presence, and emotional control that can help you find clarity and purpose in even the most challenging moments. So let's dive in and uncover the insights that can change not just your perspective, but your life. The first Stoic truth is simple yet profound: focus only on what you can control. This principle, often called the dichotomy of control, comes straight from the teachings of Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. He taught that our energy and attention should be directed toward what lies within our power, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, while letting go of what we cannot influence, like the behavior of others or external events. Think about it this way: imagine you're stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. The traffic is out of your control, but how you respond to it, whether you let frustration take over or choose to stay calm, is entirely up to you. This same idea applies to countless situations in life, from workplace stress to personal relationships. You can't control a difficult colleague or a sudden change in plans, but you can control how you handle those challenges. So take a moment to reflect. What areas of your life are you trying to control that are truly beyond your power? Are you spending mental energy on things you can't change, leaving less room for what you actually can influence? The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from accepting this distinction and redirecting your focus to where you can make a difference. It's not about giving up, it's about channeling your efforts wisely. By mastering this truth, you'll find a sense of peace and clarity, even in the midst of chaos. Imagine being forced to leave everything you know behind: your home, your career, even your sense of identity. This is exactly what happened to Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, when he was exiled to the island of Corsica by Emperor Claudius. At first glance, it seemed like a crushing blow, but Seneca chose to see it differently. Instead of resisting his fate, he embraced it, writing that exile was an opportunity to reflect, grow, and strengthen his inner resilience. He famously said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." This perspective became the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy: accepting what you cannot change. Acceptance isn't about giving up or resigning yourself to defeat. It's about recognizing the limits of your control and redirecting your energy toward what you can influence. The Stoics believed that suffering doesn't come from the events themselves, but from our resistance to them. When we fight against reality, we create unnecessary pain. By practicing acceptance, we free ourselves from that struggle and open the door to peace. Think about the unexpected changes life throws at you: a job loss, a breakup, or even a sudden shift in plans. How often do we waste energy wishing things were different? Seneca reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Instead of dwelling on what's beyond your control, focus on how you can respond with grace and adaptability. So how can you start practicing acceptance in your daily life? Begin by identifying the things you can't change: traffic, the weather, or other people's opinions, and consciously let go of the need to control them. Shift your attention to your own thoughts, actions, and attitudes. When you encounter a challenge, ask yourself, can I change this? If not, how can I adapt and grow from it? This simple shift in mindset can transform your relationship with hardship, turning obstacles into opportunities for growth. Seneca's exile wasn't the end of his story, it was the beginning of a deeper understanding of life. And just like him, you have the power to reframe your challenges, not as setbacks but as stepping stones. What might happen if you stopped resisting the uncontrollable and started embracing it? Stoicism teaches us to see events as neutral. It's our judgments that shape our emotions. Think about it. The same situation can feel devastating to one person and trivial to another. The difference lies not in the event itself, but in how we interpret it. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on this idea, reminding himself to strip away the layers of judgment and see things as they truly are, not as they appear through the lens of emotion. Take criticism, for example. When someone critiques your work, it's natural to feel defensive or hurt. But what if, instead of reacting emotionally, you paused and asked yourself, is this feedback true? Can it help me grow? By detaching your emotions from the criticism, you transform it from a personal attack into an opportunity for improvement. This is the essence of cognitive detachment, learning to observe situations without letting your immediate feelings dictate your response. So, how often do you let your judgments cloud your peace? It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of emotions, especially when life throws challenges your way. But the Stoic approach invites us to take a step back, to question whether our reactions are rooted in reality or in the stories we tell ourselves. When you practice this kind of detachment, you reclaim control over your inner world, no longer a slave to external events. Imagine the freedom that comes from knowing that, no matter what happens, your peace is yours to keep. How much of your life is spent dwelling on the past or worrying about the future? It's easy to get caught up in what's already happened or what might come next, but Stoicism teaches us that true peace and clarity come from living fully in the present moment. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, put it simply: we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. And that response begins with where we place our attention, right here, right now. The past is unchangeable and the future is uncertain. Yet, so much of our mental energy gets poured into these two realms, leaving little room for the present. Stoics believed that by focusing on the here and now, we reclaim our power. It's not about ignoring the past or dismissing the future entirely, but rather about recognizing that the only moment we truly have control over is this one. Here's a simple practice to help you cultivate presence: mindful breathing. Take a few moments each day to sit quietly and focus on your breath. Notice the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. When your mind wanders, and it will gently bring your attention back to your breath. This small act of mindfulness can be a powerful tool to anchor you in the present moment. So, what can you do today to ground yourself in the here and now? Maybe it's taking a walk without distractions, savoring a meal without rushing, or simply pausing to notice the world around you. The present moment is where life unfolds, and by embracing it, you'll find a deeper sense of calm and clarity. Stoics see challenges not as obstacles but as opportunities for growth. This might sound counterintuitive at first. After all, who wouldn't prefer smooth sailing over rough waters? But the Stoic mindset teaches us that adversity is where true progress happens. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most renowned Stoic philosophers, famously said, "The obstacle is the way." He didn't see setbacks as barriers to his goals. Instead, he viewed them as the very path to achieving them. Every challenge, every failure, every moment of discomfort became fuel for his growth, a chance to strengthen his character and deepen his resilience. Think about it this way: when life throws something difficult your way, it's like handing you a tool. Maybe it's a hammer, and the situation feels heavy and unwieldy. But with that hammer, you can build something stronger than what was there before. Take a modern example. Imagine someone facing a career setback, like losing a job or missing out on a promotion. It's easy to feel defeated, to see it as a sign of failure. But what if instead you saw it as an opportunity to reassess, to learn new skills, or even to pivot toward a path that better aligns with your passions? That's the Stoic approach, reframing adversity as a chance to grow, to evolve, to become more capable than you were before. So, what adversity in your life could you reframe as an opportunity? Maybe it's a difficult relationship, a financial struggle, or even a personal fear you've been avoiding. The Stoics remind us that our greatest challenges often contain the seeds of our greatest growth. It's not about pretending the hardship doesn't exist. It's about choosing to see it through a different lens. When you embrace adversity as an opportunity, you take control of the narrative. You transform it from something that happens to you into something that happens for you. And in that shift, you find not just resilience but purpose. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." This simple yet profound idea lies at the heart of Stoic resilience. Resilience in Stoic philosophy isn't about avoiding hardship or pretending that pain doesn't exist. It's about developing the inner strength to face life's inevitable challenges with clarity and composure. It's the ability to stand firm when the winds of adversity blow, not because the storm isn't real, but because you've trained yourself to remain steady within it. Take Cato the Younger, a Roman statesman and Stoic philosopher. When faced with the collapse of the Roman Republic and the rise of Julius Caesar's dictatorship, Cato didn't waver. Even as his world crumbled around him, he held fast to his principles, refusing to compromise his integrity. His resilience wasn't born of indifference to the situation, but of a deep commitment to his values. He understood that while he couldn't control external events, he could control his response to them. So, how can you cultivate this kind of resilience in your own life? Start by shifting your focus from what's happening to you to how you choose to respond. When faced with a setback, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow stronger through it? Resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It's about being flexible, adapting without losing your core. It's about seeing challenges not as obstacles but as opportunities to practice strength and wisdom. Building resilience also means embracing discomfort. Just as a muscle grows stronger through resistance, your inner strength develops when you face difficulties head-on. It's in those moments of struggle that you discover what you're truly capable of. And remember, resilience isn't a one-time achievement. It's a skill honed through consistent practice. Each time you choose to respond with calm and purpose, you reinforce your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. How often do you catch yourself glancing at your phone, waiting for that like or comment to make you feel acknowledged? It's a habit many of us fall into, tying our self-worth to the opinions of others. But Stoicism offers a different perspective, one that invites you to untangle your value from external validation. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the importance of self-respect and inner worth. He believed that true confidence comes from within, not from the fleeting approval of others. Imagine standing firm in your own self-assurance, no longer swayed by praise or criticism. How freeing would that feel? One practical way to start this journey is by reducing your reliance on social media. These platforms often amplify the need for external validation, bombarding us with comparisons and metrics that measure worth in likes and shares. Instead, try setting aside time each day to reflect on your own values and accomplishments, independent of what others think. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to stop seeking validation from others and to truly believe in your own worth? This shift won't happen overnight, but with practice, you can begin to build a foundation of self-sufficiency that no external force can shake. When was the last time you truly appreciated what you have? Not just a passing thought, but a deep, genuine sense of gratitude for the people, experiences, and even the smallest things in your life. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, understood the power of gratitude as a cornerstone of contentment. Every morning, he would begin his day by reflecting on the things he was thankful for, not as a passive exercise, but as a deliberate practice to ground himself in the present and cultivate a mindset of abundance even in the face of challenges. Gratitude in Stoic philosophy isn't about ignoring life's difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. It's about shifting your perspective to recognize what's already good, even when circumstances feel overwhelming. Think about it. How often do we chase after what we don't have, only to overlook the blessings that are already within our reach? A warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, or even the simple act of waking up to a new day. These are all moments worth savoring. Take a modern example. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, feeling frustrated and impatient. Instead of focusing on the delay, what if you used that time to reflect on the fact that you have a car to drive, a destination to reach, and the ability to move freely? It's a small shift, but one that can transform irritation into appreciation. Gratitude doesn't erase life's struggles, but it does give us the strength to face them with a lighter heart. So here's a challenge for you. What are 3 things you're grateful for today? It could be something as simple as a good meal, a moment of quiet, or the support of someone you love. By practicing gratitude daily, even for the smallest things, you're not just training your mind to see the good, you're building a foundation of resilience and joy that can carry you through life's ups and downs. Seneca once said, "Life is long if you know how to use it." At first glance, this might seem contradictory. How can life feel long when we're so often reminded of how fleeting it is? But the Stoics had a profound perspective on this. They believed that by understanding the impermanence of life, we could actually make it feel richer, fuller, and more meaningful. This is the essence of Memento Mori, the practice of remembering that life is finite. It's not meant to be morbid or depressing. Instead, it's a tool to help us focus on what truly matters. Take Alexander the Great, for example. By the age of 32, he had conquered vast territories, built an empire, and left an indelible mark on history. Yet his life was astonishingly short. Stoics would point to his story not to glorify his achievements, but to remind us that time is the one resource we can never reclaim. No matter how much power, wealth, or fame we accumulate, none of it can buy us more time. So, what would change if you fully embraced the impermanence of life? If you truly internalized that today could be your last, would you still spend hours worrying about things that don't matter? Would you delay pursuing your dreams or hesitate to tell someone how much they mean to you? The Stoics believed that by keeping the fragility of life in mind, we're nudged to live with greater intention, to focus on what's truly valuable and let go of what's trivial. This isn't about living in fear of the end, but about living with purpose in the present. When you recognize that life is finite, every moment becomes an opportunity to align your actions with your deepest values. It's a reminder to stop postponing joy, to stop waiting for someday, and to start living fully right now. Stoics believe that virtue, not success, is the true measure of a good life. This idea might sound simple, but it's a radical shift from how most of us are taught to think about achievement. For the Stoics, virtue, things like courage, wisdom, justice, and self-control, is the only true good. External outcomes, whether it's wealth, fame, or even health, are indifferent. They're not inherently good or bad. What matters is how we use them. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, put it plainly: some things are up to us and some are not. Virtue is up to us. It's the one thing we can always control, no matter what life throws our way. Think about a modern example. imagine you're at work and you have the chance to take credit for someone else's idea. It might help you get ahead, but it wouldn't be honest or fair. The Stoic approach would be to choose honesty, even if it means passing up a personal gain. Why? Because acting with integrity aligns with virtue, and that's where true fulfillment lies. It's not about the outcome, whether you get promoted or not, but about the kind of person you choose to be in that moment. This doesn't mean Stoics don't care about results. They do, but they focus on doing the right thing regardless of what happens afterward. It's about letting go of the need to control external events and instead focusing on what's within your power, your own actions and choices. So, how can you prioritize virtue in your daily decisions? It starts with small, intentional steps. Ask yourself, what would courage look like in this situation? What would wisdom guide me to do? By aligning your actions with these principles, you're not just living a good life, you're building a life that's genuinely meaningful. Complaining often feels like second nature, doesn't it? When something goes wrong, our first instinct is to vent, to express frustration, or to point out what's not working. But here's the hard truth. While it might feel cathartic in the moment, complaining rarely solves the problem. In fact, it often drains our energy and keeps us stuck in a cycle of negativity. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. His point was clear. Instead of wasting energy on what we can't control, we should focus on what we can do to improve the situation. So, what does this mean in practice? It means shifting our mindset from complaining to problem solving. For example, if you catch yourself grumbling about a stressful day at work, pause and ask yourself, what's one small step I can take to make tomorrow better? Maybe it's setting boundaries, prioritizing tasks differently, or even just taking a moment to breathe and reset. The key is to reframe complaints into actionable steps. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about channeling them into something constructive. Think about it. What's one thing you tend to complain about regularly? Is it traffic, a messy house, or a challenging relationship? Now, consider how you could approach it differently. What's one practical action you could take to address it? By focusing on solutions, even small ones, you reclaim your power and move forward instead of staying stuck in frustration. This is the Stoic way, not just to endure life's challenges, but to rise above them with clarity and purpose. What would happen if you intentionally stepped out of your comfort zone? It might sound counterintuitive, but the Stoics believed that embracing discomfort was one of the most powerful tools for building resilience. This practice, known as voluntary discomfort, is about willingly facing challenges or hardships, not to punish yourself, but to prepare for life's inevitable struggles. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, wrote extensively about the importance of self-discipline. He encouraged people to occasionally deprive themselves of luxuries, not because those luxuries were bad, but because doing so reminded them of their inner strength and ability to adapt. Think about it this way: when you're used to constant comfort, even small inconveniences can feel overwhelming. But by intentionally stepping into discomfort, you train yourself to handle difficulties with grace. A modern example might be fasting for a day or taking a cold shower. These aren't just physical challenges, they're mental exercises that teach you to stay calm and focused when things get tough. The discomfort becomes a teacher, showing you that you're capable of far more than you might think. So, what small discomfort could you embrace today to grow stronger? It doesn't have to be extreme. Maybe it's skipping your morning coffee, going for a walk in the rain, or spending an hour without your phone. The goal isn't to make life harder for no reason. It's to prove to yourself that you can thrive even when conditions aren't perfect. By practicing voluntary discomfort, you're not just building resilience, you're reclaiming your power over your own mind and emotions. Anger is a brief madness. These words from Seneca cut straight to the heart of what anger truly is. A fleeting state of chaos that clouds our judgment and pulls us away from reason. The Stoics understood this deeply. They saw anger not as something to be indulged or suppressed, but as an opportunity to exercise control over our emotions. For them, the key to managing anger lies in perspective. When we step back and see the bigger picture, we realize how small and insignificant most triggers truly are. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. As a Roman emperor, he faced countless challenges: political intrigue, betrayals, even wars. Yet history remembers him not for outbursts of rage, but for his calm and measured responses. In the face of conflict, he chose reason over emotion, understanding that anger only weakens one's ability to act wisely. His journal, Meditations, is filled with reminders to himself to remain composed, no matter how chaotic the world around him became. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." So, how can we apply this to our own lives when anger arises? Pause. Ask yourself, what is truly at stake here? Is this worth my energy? Often, the answer is no. By shifting your focus from the emotion to the situation, you create space to respond with clarity rather than react impulsively. Anger, after all, is a signal, not a solution. It's a call to examine what's bothering us and address it with reason, not rage. The next time you feel that heat rising, remember the Stoic wisdom. Anger doesn't solve problems, it only creates more. How can you choose reason over emotion in those moments? The answer lies in the pause, the moment you take to breathe, reflect, and decide how you truly want to respond. Every obstacle is a chance to practice Stoic principles. That might sound counterintuitive at first. After all, when we face challenges, our instinct is often to resist, to complain, or to wish the problem away. But the Stoics saw things differently. To them, obstacles weren't just random annoyances or setbacks. They were opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, put it this way: "The obstacle is the way." He believed that every challenge was a test of character, a moment to practice virtues like patience, courage, and perseverance. When life throws something difficult your way, it's not just happening to you, it's happening for you. Think about a time when you faced a major setback. Maybe it was losing a job, ending a relationship, or dealing with a health issue. At the time, it probably felt overwhelming, maybe even unfair. But looking back, did that challenge push you to grow in ways you never expected? Did it teach you something about yourself or force you to develop skills you didn't know you had? That's the Stoic perspective in action. The obstacle wasn't just something to endure, it was an invitation to rise to the occasion. Here's a modern example. Imagine someone who loses their job unexpectedly. At first, it feels like a disaster: financial stress, uncertainty, maybe even a blow to their self-esteem. But instead of spiraling into despair, they choose to see it as an opportunity. They use the time to learn a new skill, network with others, or even start a side hustle they've been dreaming about. What seemed like a setback becomes the push they needed to create something better. So, what obstacle in your life could you turn into an opportunity? It doesn't have to be something huge. It could be as simple as a difficult conversation you've been avoiding or a habit you've struggled to break. The key is to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this to become stronger?" That's the Stoic way. It's not about pretending everything is easy or ignoring the pain. It's about finding meaning in the struggle and using it to build a better version of yourself. When was the last time you paused to truly reflect on your actions and thoughts? In the hustle of daily life, it's easy to move from one task to the next without ever stopping to consider the why behind what we do. The Stoics, however, placed immense value on self-reflection as a tool for growth and self-mastery. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, often emphasized the importance of reviewing your day each evening. He believed that by examining your actions, thoughts, and decisions, you could identify patterns, celebrate progress, and course-correct where needed. This practice wasn't about self-criticism, but about cultivating awareness and aligning your life with your values. One practical way to incorporate this into your routine is through journaling. At the end of each day, take a few moments to write down what went well, what challenged you, and what you learned. Ask yourself, what did I do today that brought me closer to being the person I want to be? Or where did I fall short, and how can I improve tomorrow? These questions aren't meant to judge but to guide. Over time, this habit can reveal insights about your habits, reactions, and priorities, helping you live more intentionally. So tonight, before you close your eyes, take a moment to reflect. What did you learn about yourself today? The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." This simple yet profound statement cuts to the heart of what truly matters in life. For the Stoics, time was seen as the ultimate currency, something far more valuable than money, possessions, or status. While material things can be replaced or lost, the moments we have are finite and irreplaceable. Every second that passes is gone forever, and how we choose to spend those seconds defines the quality of our lives. Think about it. How often do we trade our precious time for things that don't truly fulfill us? Chasing the latest gadget, working overtime to afford luxury items, or scrolling endlessly through social media. These are all ways we squander our most valuable resource. The Stoics would argue that instead of measuring our lives by what we own, we should measure them by how we live. Are we spending our time in ways that align with our values, our passions, and our purpose? Are we investing in relationships, experiences, and growth, or are we simply accumulating things that will eventually lose their meaning? Take a moment to reflect on your own life. What would it look like if you prioritized time over possessions? Imagine spending an extra hour with loved ones instead of working late to buy something you don't really need. Picture dedicating an afternoon to a hobby that brings you joy rather than shopping for something that will soon collect dust. These small shifts in perspective can lead to profound changes in how we experience life. The Stoics remind us that true wealth isn't found in what we own, but in how we use our time to create a life rich in meaning and connection. So, how can you make better use of your time? Start by asking yourself what truly matters to you. What activities, people, or goals bring you a sense of fulfillment? Once you've identified those, make a conscious effort to prioritize them. This might mean saying no to distractions, setting boundaries, or simply being more intentional about how you spend your days. Remember, time is the one thing you can never get back, so use it wisely. The Stoics believed that a life well lived isn't about having more, but about making the most of what you already have, the gift of time itself. Death is not something to fear, but a reminder to live fully. The Stoics called this idea Memento Mori, a Latin phrase that means remember you must die. At first, it might sound grim, but this concept is far from morbid. Instead, it's a powerful tool for shaping how we live. By acknowledging the inevitability of death, we're reminded that our time is limited, and that's what makes it precious. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic thinkers, often reflected on this in his personal writings. In Meditations, he wrote, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. It's a call to stop wasting time on trivial matters and focus on what truly matters. Take Socrates, for example. When faced with his own execution, he didn't resist or despair. Instead, he calmly accepted his fate, using his final moments to teach his students about courage, integrity, and the importance of living a virtuous life. His acceptance of mortality wasn't defeat, it was a profound statement about how to live. He understood that death is inevitable, but how we choose to live is entirely within our control. So, what would change if you truly embraced the idea that your time here is finite? Would you spend less energy on things that don't matter? Would you take more risks, pursue your passions, or mend broken relationships? The Stoics believed that accepting mortality isn't about dwelling on the end. It's about creating a life so meaningful that when the end comes, you can face it with peace and no regrets. It's a challenge to live intentionally, to prioritize what truly enriches your life and to let go of what doesn't. Because in the end, it's not the length of our lives that matters, it's the depth. What does it mean to live in harmony with nature? For the Stoics, this wasn't just about spending time outdoors or appreciating the beauty of a sunset. It was a profound philosophical stance. They believed that everything in the universe operates according to a natural order, and our role as humans is to align ourselves with that flow rather than resist it. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, often emphasized that true freedom comes from accepting what we cannot control and focusing instead on how we respond to it. He saw nature not just as the physical world around us, but as the very fabric of existence, a system of cause and effect that governs all things. So, how does this ancient wisdom apply to our modern lives? Think about sustainability. When we make choices that respect the environment, whether it's reducing waste, conserving energy, or supporting eco-friendly practices, we're essentially aligning ourselves with the natural order. These actions reflect an understanding that we are part of something larger, connected to the cycles and rhythms of the planet. But living in harmony with nature goes beyond environmentalism. It's also about aligning with your own nature, your values, your purpose, and the way you interact with the world. Are you resisting the flow of your life, or are you moving with it? Are you trying to force outcomes, or are you trusting the process? Consider this. Just as a tree doesn't struggle to grow, it simply follows its natural path. We too can find peace by embracing the way things are, rather than constantly fighting against them. How can you start aligning your life more closely with nature's rhythms? Maybe it's by simplifying your routines, practicing gratitude for the present moment, or letting go of the need to control every detail. The Stoics remind us that when we live in harmony with nature, we live in harmony with ourselves, and that, ultimately, is where true contentment lies. As we come to the close of this journey through the 18 Stoic truths, it's worth pausing to reflect on just how transformative these principles can be. Each truth we've explored, whether it's the importance of focusing on what's within your control, embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, or cultivating gratitude for the present moment, offers a powerful lens through which to view life. These are not just abstract ideas, they're tools for building resilience, fostering emotional mastery, and living with intention. At the heart of Stoicism is the understanding that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. This mindset shifts the way we approach difficulties, turning obstacles into stepping stones and setbacks into lessons. It's about finding strength in adversity, clarity in chaos, and peace in the midst of uncertainty. These truths remind us that life's greatest challenges often hold the keys to our growth, if we're willing to face them with courage and openness. One of the most profound lessons Stoicism teaches is the power of presence. By anchoring ourselves in the here and now, we free ourselves from the weight of regret over the past and anxiety about the future. This isn't just about mindfulness, it's about reclaiming your agency and finding joy in the simplicity of being. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." What we choose to focus on, how we interpret our experiences, and the way we direct our energy, these are the building blocks of a fulfilling life. So, as you move forward, take a moment to consider how these truths might reshape your own perspective. How can you apply them to the challenges you're facing right now? How might they help you cultivate deeper resilience, greater emotional balance, or a stronger sense of purpose? Stoicism isn't just a philosophy to study, it's a practice to live by day, moment by moment. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which of these truths resonated with you the most? How do you see yourself putting them into action? Share your reflections in the comments below. I'm always eager to hear how these ideas come to life in your own experiences. And if you found this exploration meaningful, consider subscribing to the channel for more insights like these. Together, we can continue to uncover the wisdom that helps us live more intentional, grounded, and fulfilling lives. Thank you for being here, and remember, the quality of your thoughts shapes the quality of your life. Until next time, take care.